Now he talks kind of about the religious aspects of singing. When slaves were out working in the fields and everything, this is one of the ways they passed the times. How many of you have ever seen the movie, it's got George Cline in it. It's based on Homer's Iliad.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
That's what it is, yeah. And you know, the movie begins with the jailhouse chain gang out there. Right, but you hear the song they're singing while they break the rocks, and they're all in unison as they hit the hammer on the rocks. You know what I'm talking about? I brought my iPod with me, darn, I had that song on there. But that is a continuation of kind of that ritual of singing from the slaves in the fields. It would be a series of chants, and then there'd be a lot of repetition from the rest of the slaves. So one slave would say something, you know, I'm going to fly away, and the other slaves repeat back something. And a lot of times, this wasn't just a way just to pass the time and sing. A lot. I'm sorry. Exactly. They use these songs as coded messages. We're going to meet at a certain place and time. You know, if I'm working this part of the field and the girl I love is in another part of the field, is a way for me to converse with her. Tell her, hey, I love you, baby. Come see me tonight. Those kinds of things. So, you know, it wasn't just, you know, me in my car singing along to pass the time in the drive here. A lot of these songs had meaning. And not just spiritual meaning, but real conversational meaning. So did you find those recordings interesting? What did you learn from them?
Well, see, honestly, I would like it'd be better if we could hear it better, you know what I'm saying?
That's true, but this is why I also gave you the transcript.
I read that actually. I mean, it was kind of interesting. The fact that like they talked about when they went to church and stuff. And that's how they stayed a drive to live.
Okay, well, the first question in the packet, as these older slaves remember their time in slavery, did it come across to you that they kind of seemed to have a fondness for how things were going? I mean, like, oh, there's an episode of Archie Bunker, which I'm sure none of you have heard of, but this is a show in the early 70s that, you know, when the civil rights era is getting really big. This show is intended to make fun of kind of that old, stodgy, racist white guy. And Archie Bunker is the character who is this guy. And his neighbors are the Jeffersons. And they did a spin-off show later. You ever heard of the moving on that?
Oh, yeah.
The Jeffersons. It's a spin-off show from Archie Bunker. But anyway, George Jefferson's over at his house one day, and the show kind of focuses on their relationship as a black man and a white man. And Archie Bunker talks about the carefree days of slavery. You know, it's in jest. The show uses the line in jest, the carefree days of slavery. But when you listen to these African slaves being interviewed, does it seem to them like, you know, do you really get the picture that these were hard times?
No, not from what they say.
Right, not from their interview. I mean, at least I didn't. You know, I'm not hearing about, when the woman they interview talks about religion, you do hear about, you know, someone was getting kicked or hit because they were praying, they were practicing religion. But you don't get the picture of, you know, we were fed little. Fountain Hughes talks about, you know, they didn't have beds. They had to, you know, sleep on these pallets. And slaves didn't have beds. But I don't know, first, they just don't convey to me, and especially, I let you listen to some of the more interesting ones. There are others in there. There was a slave who was owned by Jefferson Davis, who was the president of the Confederacy during the Civil War. And Master Jeff, what a great guy. I remember him well. He gave me a walking stick, and he was always real nice to me. And as you listen to him, you kind of get the feeling like, you know, oh, what a great time. I love my slave master.